Hello, everyone. Hope you're good. Hope lockdown's not ruining you. So I had an idea the other day, and I ran it by Jen, who runs all of our social media. And yeah, we've decided that we're going to do some interviews with some of the team from Forever Jackson. I've been doing a bit of presenting throughout the last year, online stuff, and thought might as well utilize that. It's a little bit of the skills I picked up from back in the day before I was doing FJ. And yeah, so over the next coming weeks, we're going to do some interviews with some of the team members, some of the people that have been key to us over the years and important in making us the success that we are. We're very, very lucky to have them on board, and we thought maybe you guys would like to find out some more about them. First up is Mr. Shane Lee Smith, our lead guitarist, our touring MD, the man who works out who's going to play what and who's going to play what gigs. And he's a great mate. There were some big laughs in this interview. So it was a lot of fun and some very insightful information, even some bits that I didn't know about him. So here it is. Enjoy. Keep an eye out on the social media pages for when the next one's going to come out too. Enjoy. Here we are then, round number one of the Forever Jackson interviews, and today is one of the most important people in our production. He is our touring MD, he is our lead guitarist, he organises who plays, what they play and how they play it. He is the one and only legendary and looking a little bit tired from what I'm getting lockdown wear and tear. Mr. Shane Lee Smith, how you doing, mate?
Yes, good, mate. Yeah, very good. Thank you. You well?
Yeah, I'm good. Not too bad. Thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking some time out. I know it's half term now. We're recording this Monday morning. It's about 9 o'clock, I believe. Yeah, just past 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's I appreciate you getting up early on the start of what is essentially a bit of a break
Crawled
for
out.
you normally. So
Crawled out, mate. Yeah, I crawled out that bed. But there we go. Yeah, it's all
there
good.
we go.
All
That's why
good.
you've got PI, just like me.
I
Look, these
do.
other little Sainsbury's bags I got going on. They're joining me, catching me up a bit.
Absolutely. I need them later. Go shopping with, mate. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, bags for life. These are bags of life.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
So, mate, let's get into it. We want to find out all sorts of things about you related to Forever Jackson, outside of Forever Jackson, some of your best moments, all sorts of things. So, as you know, we've had a whole load of questions that I've set up. I sent some of them over to you. There's one or two little curveballs I might throw in there, especially on a quick fire round. But for the most part, I think you know what's coming. So let's
Okay.
start at the beginning then. So how did you first get involved in FJ?
Okay. So I used to work in a music shop in Hertford at the time. It was in the little down near 4th Street, and it was known as Hertford Music back in the day. It's now Gig Gear, the big store we have in Harlow,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a guy called Tommy Gentry, who now plays for good old band Gun, and yeah, he turned around one day when he was in the shop. He's a lot younger than me, bless him, and they was like, yeah, you know, got this guy Robin looking for a guitarist for the show. They need to put some more musicians on the show. So I was like, right, okay, all right, show me what this is about. And so yeah, it just sort of went on from there. Really, I remember speaking to you, and we had a rehearsal in London, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was. That was with Don, wasn't it? Possibly. No, it was before Don, wasn't it?
Before, yeah,
Before
that's it.
Don,
I
yeah.
can't ever remember bless them their names. So it's
Oh,
been
that
so long.
Sean. Sean was the bass player. Little
Yeah,
Uncle Sean, I believe he was.
that rings a bell.
And I can't think who was playing drums. I can picture him,
Yeah.
but I can't
Okay.
remember what his name was because it was so long ago. We're talking what, nearly 10 years ago now, at least, something like that.
Yeah. 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 It's got to be.
Crazy times. I mean, I remember getting you on board. I remember speaking to Tommy because I think Tommy was somebody that was put forward to me, and he said I'm not
Yeah.
available, but I know some people that would be interested in doing it, hence yourself, and there was somebody else I believe as well.
Yeah.
I remember my first experience with you was you just never answered the phone or replied to anything. And I was just like, oh man, this guy's going to be a pain in the ass. I'm not sure if I want this. I'm not sure how they're going to work. And then eventually you got back to me and we got you on a gig. And I was like,
oh no, this is going to work out very nicely. This, if he can just learn how to work his phone when it rings, and if it does ring and he misses it, how to work it just to recall somebody back, then we are in business. So
that's about right. I was terrible, mate.
Now you're much better at that now. Sometimes you get back to me within a month. Not kidding.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was tough. I think I lacked confidence a lot, you know, over the years, and I didn't like speaking to people that much, really, and you know, missed opportunities were definitely had back then, believe me. Yeah,
well, you know, that's the nature of growing up in a business, isn't it? Like, you learn what to do and what not to do more often than not the hard way. So we've all been there, we've all done that. So tell us about your first gig with us.
Okay.
Do you know much about it?
Yeah. Vaguely, we were in a holiday park. We had a couple of shows.
We won't name names of places just in case it gets a bit negative at any point. But yes, we was in a holiday park.
Fine. I can't even remember what one it was, if I'm honest. We had two. I remember there was two on the trot.
Yes.
And I remember one of them, we weren't even on stage. We were just in that little restaurant bit and stuck in a corner, like cramped in this little bit of a restaurant.
Word, cramped.
And I mean, the songs, you know, if I remember back, they were very different back then. I mean, we're talking Jackson Live days, you know.
Yeah. That was back when we was known as Jackson Live, the early days. It was. I remember now that you've said that it was two back to back. I remember Dan being our techie, who nobody knows Dan particularly well. That is outside of the show, certainly. Some people will know him from the early days. He's an old mate of mine that used to be my assistant entertainment manager at Jumping Jacks in Harlow back in the day. And he was a DJ, but he also knew his way around sound and bands and stuff. And we turned up with, from a PA point of view, what was an essentially super half-assed setup like that. Like, it was literally my normal playback PA with some extra leads that we'd sort of scramped from somebody that we'd borrowed, and a few mics. And that was the thing at the time. Like, it was fine for the first gig, but the second gig was quite a big room. It was like a sort of 1,500, 2,000 capacity, which was essentially not what it was going to hold that night. But we sounded like a fart in the wind because it was just small. It was like, do you remember? I remember Dan flying now a lead all the way across their ceiling and down, hanging down to the drums with a mic just swinging, hanging off it.
Yeah.
Try and pick up some ambient drum sound.
Absolutely mental. Yeah. It's just, you know, can you hear us? No, you know, it was one of them.
Can you imagine doing that? Like, now you just be like, what are you doing? Well, these guys ain't thought of anything. So, but that's what it was. That's how it all started. I remember now. Yeah, blimey, God, that has to be at least 10 years ago.
I'm going to say a good 10 years ago now. Yeah.
Because I remember doing it playback from 2008 for about 2.5 years before we started thinking about doing anything with a band. But yeah, that's mad. So outside of Forever Jackson, tell us about how you first got into being a guitarist.
Oh, okay. So I started on the tennis racket when I was about 6, right? So just being in my room. But no, my dad was a rock and roll singer, and he had a band called what was Jukebox 56 back in the day. Okay. He was a rock and roll singer, and I was brought up. I had a lot of music going around. He used to rehearse with his band in my mum's dining room, and I used to hear him playing all the time. And I just wanted a guitar. So from the age of 8, I got my first guitar, just this little classical thing. And then and it sort of went on from there. I was learning rock and roll songs, country songs, and I was self-taught. I just taught myself.
Really?
You know, and then eventually I started playing alongside my dad. And then, I think it was I was 9.5 years old, and I went and played my first show with him as lead guitarist from my dad, playing this rock and roll stuff. So yeah, it was quite quite nice. I look back at that and I can always remember those memories. So they were nice. It's just a shame. I think there must be a picture or two out there, but I'm dying for this day to find me with a little plastic country hat on, playing this bigger guitar than me. Yeah, I just
maybe your parents have got some hidden away somewhere.
I know my mother hasn't, and my dad, I'm not sure. I think some of my dad's friends possibly have, and I have asked before. But you don't know. Maybe one day.
May come to light one day. They may turn up one day. So you were self-taught. Have you always been self-taught? Have you ever had lessons?
So I was self-taught up until I was about 14, 15. And then I went to see a guy. It was a guy called Steve Kershaw in Stevenage. I went to see him when I was only for about 3 months at the most, just more than anything, check on my technique and stuff. It was just, you know, am I doing things right? And he showed me a few bits, which was inspiring as always. But yeah, it just went on from there. I pretty much, self-taught all the way through. Wow. Apart from that.
I mean, I know it's easier for kids these days with things like YouTube being such a prominent thing and all these tutorial videos on there. I've got, in fact, practically a nephew to me who's pretty much teaching himself through lockdown. Excuse me. But back when you was self-taught, you didn't have any of that. That wasn't around. You just what? You VHSs that you
well, pretty much. There was
kind of a bit that's similar to me then from the learning to dance, really, because again, it's self-taught. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm no particularly good dancer, but to dance like MJ, self-taught, just watching videos and things. So
yeah, it was a funny old time. Like I remember getting a book, the Guitarist. I can't remember. Guitarist. No, what was it called? I can't remember. It was an old book, okay. Right? And it had a plastic record. It was like this. It wasn't like an old, like proper vinyl round. It was like this thin plastic sheet, and that would be like your play along thing. You put it on your record player, and that was it.
Amazing. That's hilarious. Oh, mate. So who were your musical heroes growing up, and who still inspires you today?
So I would say from back then, probably the likes of your Buddy Hollies, your Richie Valance, good old Hank Marvin and all that from back in the day.
Wow. So proper bit of a 60s vibe going on there, really.
Yeah, I think that really helped with like rhythm and stuff, that country music and all that of other people, Waylon Jennings and all those. But then, going through, I got my first little pedal, so then I got into distortion, heavy stuff, and it was like, come on, I want to be, I want to play like Slash, I want to play like James Hetfield and Kirk from Metallica, and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, all these names I sort of got to know and love.
And is there anyone around today maybe coming up, anybody new that we should be looking out for as a guitarist that you kind of is on your radar, that you kind of like, wow, that guy or that girl is just amazing?
There's a few out there. I mean, the problem is with our world now, obviously the music industry is a bit fluffy, isn't it? Especially with musician wise, it's a lot of solo singers and stuff like that.
Didn't it? So
but there's a cool girl out there I follow on Facebook and that, Sophie Lloyd. She's a very good guitar player. She's really good. There's others like Andy James, who I have been on the same gigs with. He's very good player. He played for I forget, one of the big metal bands now, but they there's a few. There's not as many as we would love, obviously. But even James Bay and that come out, when you hear him on the record, you hear him on the record, you think, oh, they're nice songs and that. Until you see him live, you're like, oh my God, the guy can actually play, really, really play.
James Bay's always got the massive hat thing. Like
that's him.
A bit like what Undertaker wears from wrestling.
Jack Garrett.
I'm here.
Yeah, man. You see, we know this. That's showing our age, mate. It's okay.
I'm going to be honest. I couldn't name you one song, but I recognise him. That's the main thing. So you're a guitarist by night, kind of your superhero guys, rocking out, and you're a teacher by day.
Yeah.
Certainly through the week. Tell us a little bit about how that started.
Again, a long time ago. I mean, I was teaching for a long time on and off. So I was teaching at the music shop for a while, doing some one-to-one lessons there, before I got into session work and things. And then I started teaching again for a company called Hertfordshire College of Music. I taught there for about 7-8 years, something like that. And then I went on from there. I'm now at Harlow College, being a diploma teacher. Music, of course.
There we go. Where all the best are. So if you wasn't doing that, if you wasn't a guitarist, if you wasn't a teacher, what do you think you'd be doing? What would be your aspiration as a career? Have you ever thought about that? Because that's the thing in this industry. Quite often, it ebbs and flows. It really ebbs and flows. Like especially right now, it's ebbs so much. We're searching for the sea, for obvious reasons. So with that in mind, if you wasn't doing this, what would you do? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever tried something else outside of this?
The only other thing I wanted to do at the same time as starting the guitar was play football. And it literally was going to be one or the other. And it was due to me getting ill, pushed me to not be able to play football anymore. And then, so guitar was my best friend. It had to be there. And I've been so fortunate to be playing for all of these years, over 30 years now. So yeah, it's been good.
Was you working towards a professional career in football then? Was that something you was aspiring for? Is that something you were looking for?
I would have definitely loved to. And I had people, every so often looking at me play and stuff. And I think I was quite a good footballer back in the day. You asked me to run now, mate. No chance.
That lifting speakers and stuff does you need over the years and back. So you just very quickly, you mentioned you got ill. What happened there, if you're all right to talk about it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so it's actually, so when I was 15, I was playing football and I was ill at the time, playing football out in the cold and the wet. And this, I'm just going into a little bit of how it come on, really. Yeah. I scored a good goal. I swung off the top of the crossbar and I landed on the back of my head. And then I put a hairline fracture in my wrist. It took me a long time to get through that. And then, but from being all that, it brought on what is chronic fatigue syndrome, or shortly known as ME. Yeah. So I had then had that for, it was about 5 years it lasted for. And back in the day, it wasn't really recognised by doctors and everything like that. So it's always up and down. In the end, it's just, I was sleeping maybe 20 hours a day on big horse tablets for my head. That, it's proper full on, and I was just knackered. I was like a zombie all the time. So the only thing I could really do was pick that guitar up when I didn't have, when I could, and I was playing it every day.
Wow. So it was a bit of a saviour for you as much as it was a new career. Wow. See, I've learned something today. I had no idea. We've never spoken about it in the 10 odd years that we've known each other. So that's mad. I had no idea. Oh, mate. So you were hoping to play for Tottenham, that horrible and I'm loving your form at the moment. I can't wait till next weekend when we play. I think it's next weekend.
Yeah.
You can just keep that form a little bit longer. Just after that, do what you want. But up until then, just let us have a little crack at you, because it's been a while.
It's going to happen, mate. There's no way. We're terrible at the moment. I don't know what's happened, but
anyway, we move on. So you kind of just told us something unique about you that nobody ever knew, to be honest. Certainly I didn't know, and a lot of other people didn't know. I'm sure there's many people that did. Is there anything else unique that nobody else really knows about you that you could tell us?
What's unique? I don't know. I mean, people, not unique. Everybody laughs. I think I make people laugh with my laugh. I think, there's
I was literally just going to say, I mean, the unique thing about you absolutely is your laugh. It's very unique, and it's absolute Marmite to people. But it always The thing about Shane is Shane finds the most random things funny forever. For absolutely ever. Once he gets a bee in his bonnet about something, and it'll be something that some of us will just go, oh, yeah, that's all right, that, and then move on. Shane will just be crying, absolutely crying with laughter about it, and it'll all die off 20 minutes later, and then a few minutes after that, he'll think about it, and it'll be, that's it, right back to it. Just this hyena sat in the corner, wetting himself, laughing, crying. So, but
That's about right, mate.
It's one of your greatest like features because it's just always so funny. You make something so mundane so hilarious just because of how much you laugh about it. Like I remember when those memes were going around with all the riffs on the Bon Jovi lyrics, like
yes,
Fresh to Bel Air and Apple on a Stair or whatever it was, and all these different things. And you was crying about them. The rest was going, yeah, no, they're good, they're good. Well, what's wrong with him? Is he all right? So,
it's one of those things. I don't know where it come from. I've had it since I was tiny, and there you go. I can't say any more.
I love it, and I hope it never changes. So, so let's talk about a bit more about how you and FJ line up and some of the greatest things to do with it. So tell us, do you have a favourite show that you've done with Forever Jackson?
It's really difficult. We've
done a lot, so
done a hell of a lot, and it's I think we've done so many good ones. It's really difficult, but I think I have to point at the Saru ones we do. They're always great to go and do. The club full of people, a few hundred people. It's a proper gig, and they're right up close, and they're really there and really into the music. That's what they're there for.
It reminds me of the old school vibe of the Square in Harlow. It's that kind of sensation in a nightclub, but it's like a proper cool venue. It's like almost like in this industrial estate. For anybody who doesn't know, because this is out in Spain, in Badalona, and I'm not mispronounced it is Badalona, which is just outside Barcelona, just to add to confusion. And don't ever go there and say, how you doing, Barcelona, because they'll lynch you. But because I did that for ages, literally 3/4 of a gig, I'm going, Buenas noches, Barcelona. And they're just like, who do you think you are? Like, but it's kind of like, fair. And we do there normally about once a year. Sadly, last year, no, we did manage to do one last year. This year may well be the first year we haven't done there for a number of years, probably about 5-6 years at least. Yeah. And it is just a cool venue, isn't it? There's bars either side. It holds about comfortably 350, 400, and I managed to cram in almost every time we're there. It looks like 1,000 people, but it's probably about 500, 600 max. Yeah. And it's just a good atmosphere. They cheer from the second you walk on stage. They sing along. Even though like you have that language barrier, so we don't do a lot of talking in between the songs, apart from one gig, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But they're just up for it. They're just there for a great time. So yeah, I'm with you on that. It's always a great gig there.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah. What was the language barrier bit you were going to go on about? What gig was that one?
Well, I'm pretty sure you might remember. So we've said about what's your favourite show. Let's maybe talk about some of your least favourite moments in Forever Jackson history, shall we? Do you remember the gig out there in Saru when we had a lot of issues technically?
Yes, that was a different venue, wasn't it? That was
that was Saru. That was 100% Saru. Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
It's scratched into my memory and haunts me many a day. So
yeah,
we had lots of technical problems.
Yeah, we did. I'm just trying to think now. There was a load of stuff. Is it the one where we're literally having to grab other equipment to make things work?
So I'll bring it in just briefly, a very quick, brief description of what happened. So we were out in Saru, and we have this thing where obviously baggage is a bit of an issue when we fly abroad because there's a lot of costumes and we like to bring a fair amount of equipment. One second. Excuse me. And because I'm one of these people, and ever since South Africa especially, I'm one of these people, I like to be prepared. I like to have two of everything. So I take two laptops, I take two sound cards, two lots of all the leads that I know that we will need to supply ourselves. We even take a sound desk, even though we ask for a sound desk for Matt, for drums, I always get him to bring one as well. We take your pedals. We make sure we've got everything so that if anything happens and it's on us to fix it, it's something at our end that we've agreed that we're supply, we've got it covered. But on that gig, none of the sound cards worked. And we thought it was the laptops, both my laptops was how we thought, what's going on? It was one was just making a white noise, just a and the other one was making everything sound like a robot sort of sort of thing, like it was receiving a fax or something. It was just like, what's going on? And we didn't matter what we did, we couldn't fix it because I didn't know what was going on. Like, and the fact that if one was doing it but the other wasn't, you'd have gone, okay, well, it's that one. But the fact they were both doing it was making us go, we don't know, is it a power supply issue? Is there a different voltage out here? And we ended up, long story short, you bounced everything into your laptop and we were running it as a left and right out of your mini jack auxiliary on your laptop. So basically, for those who don't know what that is, just your headphone port. So you do a left and right, you pan the sound so that the front of house sound, what everybody in the audience hears from the track, was going out of the right-hand side, for instance, and the left-hand side, the click track, which times all the musicians and the drummer and everything with all the prompts and stuff, was going out the other side. And we were doing it like that. And then Javier was literally trying to cue the screens separately, because all of this stuff when we do it is quite technical. We run it on a program called QLab. We hit spacebar, long story short, we hit spacebar and everything plays perfectly, all in time at the right time. So when you're then hitting play from the screen and from the laptop, and you're literally about nearly like 50-60 foot away from each other, and you're going 1, 2, go, trying to cue it, and then you've got the lag of whatever each laptop's doing as well with each thing. It was just no chance. And then your laptop was like really struggling with it as well, whether it was overheating or whatever. It crashed literally every other sort of every third or fourth song it was crashing, and then you're having to reboot it again. Unfortunately, it wasn't crashing in a song. It was just going, no, that's it, we're finished that song and then I'm done. And I was having to we were having to fill time in between each of these songs so that you could reboot your MacBook. And I'm talking to an audience that don't speak English, and you're just like, no.
Yeah, that's right. I remember it now. Yeah.
Yeah. And yet we got through it, and everybody was like, great gig. And you're like, no, it wasn't. What? That wasn't a great gig. That was
absolutely.
So
the show must go on, as they say. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you remember any other gigs that for you have been like, oh God, just get me off this stage now? This has been a tough one. Or even before the gig where you've just been like, oh God, what's going on here?
With Jackson, I think we've been quite lucky. We've had a few moments technical wise. That's the nature of the beast, isn't it? That happens for everyone. That's live music. That's live entertainment.
Technology for you.
Yeah. But no, I don't. With Jackson, no. I think other than that, I think that's pretty much the big one. And you've pointed out there that was the worst case of it.
It was just, I remember us getting, and the funny thing was that was the one gig we decided, because it was a 24, these are always a 24-hour round trip. You get up really early in the morning, like 4 o'clock or whatever. We all meet at my house. We go to normally Stansted, we fly out, we do the gig, we're back to the hotel for a couple of hours, showered, and then we're back on the shuttle bus to get the flight back again, and we're back home again by sort of 9-10 o'clock in the morning. So it's always like a 24-hour round trip plus 24 hours where we don't sleep. And that was the one show we decided for social media to film everything leading up to it. and the sound check and all of that, and it was just like, what's going on? And that was a stir crazy bunch of videos. That was funny, very funny.
Absolutely, mate.
So outside of Forever Jackson, what's been your career highlight? What's been something that's really stood out for you, that sort of always made you go, I'm so proud, so amazed I got to do that?
Been fortunate. I've had a few good shows in places, etc. But I think the big one for me, and it's still a little bit unbelievable now that it happened, was supporting Bon Jovi at the O2. I think that was probably the biggest one.
Yeah, it had to.
You know, you're amazed what you get a phone call, because I was in a band, they're currently still going, but original band called New Device, and we were on tour anyway, doing this tour with another band called Dear Superstar at the time, and then 3 or 4 nights into the tour, we had the phone call literally 5 minutes before we hit the stage. And we were late going on stage that night because we were just celebrating. As soon as we got that call, you're going to be main support for Bon Jovi, it was like, oh my God, you're joking.
And not even like a little warm-up gig, the O2.
Yeah, the O2, yeah, nothing special. But no, it was great. It was really cool. It was really cool. And it just went too fast, you know. Yeah. Shows go fast when you're on them anyway, but that one just flew past that day. It's like, oh, take me back.
Now, speaking about Bon Jovi, I know that we've spoken about this before. You was that close to being part of Bon Jovi at one stage, wasn't you?
Yeah, that's right. So when Richie Sambora, he actually left Jovi, or whatever quite happened there, it's their situation. But yeah, I had good close friends at the time. I'm still friends with them now. I still speak to them now and again. And they used to go for coffee with people like Bon Jovi. You know, they would be not just Jovi, with everyone, all the big stars. They'd be having coffee with them down at Costa or wherever it was. And but yeah, they put my name forward to be Sambora's replacement. And one of the key moments I think I could take from that show is when Jovi was watching us before they went on stage, and Sambora turned around to the people I know and just went, "Who's the guy in that white top there? Who's that? Who's that?" He's, you know, all this, whatever. He was great stuff. Whatever. And yeah, you know, and they told me after that show, and then I was so close, and the dream would have been amazing.
I mean, we would never have seen you ever again. So
no.
On the one side, I'm sad for you it didn't happen. On the plus side, we gained so much that it didn't happen. So
yeah,
you know,
well, look, you
thank
know,
God for that other guitar.
Things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason. I wouldn't have met all of you, and so much more as well. It'd been different.
Well, yes, so much more. You know, you've not just found career success through Forever Jackson, have you? So
no,
you've met someone very important in your life. So
absolutely,
Matt Allen, I think, isn't it? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, you are obviously together with one of our lead dancers, Corinne, who you met through the show and have been together. How long have you been together now?
It'll be later this year. It'll be 6 years this year.
Do you do anything nice? Yeah. Obviously, yesterday being Valentine's Day. Do anything nice or?
Oh, well, you know, we had
make that work.
Yeah, I had my children there, so you know it was very nice. We watched Planet of the Apes, and we had Pizza Express. That was nice. We had a nice day. So it's all cool. Yeah.
Good for you. So I tell you what, let's take a break from the little questions. I've told you that we'd do this. I've planned a little bit of a quick fire round. Now I'm not sending you any of these questions, so I want like immediate first thought answers, if you like, whatever comes into your head, blurt it out. Now I've set a timer, and the way I've done it is I thought, let's play one of the dance breaks. So you've got till the end of the dance break, so it's kind of a break in the questioning, but it's still questioning, but it's a little bit different. So like I said, I've got a bunch of questions. I'll get through as many as I can. If we manage to get through all of them, amazing, but I think there might be one or two that throws you a bit left and right on this, so we might not get through all of it. So here we go. I'll tell you when your time starts. So You hear that all right?
Yeah.
Here we go. So, favourite MJ song?
Beat It.
Favourite non-MJ song?
Oh my God. Nothing else matters. Don't know.
Nice. Dinner or a movie?
Dinner.
Work or play?
Play.
Favourite TV show?
Ooh, Vikings at the moment.
What's your pet peeve?
My pet what?
Your pet peeve. What really annoys you? Anything at all?
Not a lot. I can know. That's a really difficult one.
All right.
Difficult.
If you weren't called Shane, what would you like to be called?
Oh, it's a long story, but I was actually going to be called Wayne. That's bad, right?
No, Wayne, and they chose Shane. How did that? All right then. Favourite band?
Metallica.
Dress up or dress down?
Dress up.
Favourite food? That's your
Indian.
Favourite food?
Indian.
Indian. Well done, mate. Well done. I love it, Wayne. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I was nearly Wayne. Nearly Wayne.
Hilarious. So, seeing as we're being a bit funny at the moment, like, let's move on to the funniest FJ moments in your time with us. And there's been a few. As we mentioned earlier, you're quite often in hysterics, literally trying to hold it in with what looks like, this face looks a bit like this, like you've just kissed a lemon, doing an impression of Robert De Niro's going. Just doing his face, trying not to laugh out loud. But can you think of what's been some of your funniest moments working with us?
Oh, there's been a lot, and to remember them all is going to be a nightmare. I've got to go back to Spain quickly. I've got to go back to when we've been out in Spain, when it was the early hours of the morning, and we might have had a few to drink, bless us, after the show.
What was this interest? So you say Spain. Who else was there with us?
So it was Matt drumming for us that night, and Nick was playing bass that night.
Okay.
And we went to there was a McDonald's just outside the hotel. We literally, I don't know, we were going round and round that thing. We were walking through the drive-through, God knows what, in the morning, trying to get some food after the gig because we were starving. Now the food, obviously, you know, it's lovely. It's lovely when we go to these gigs and they give us lots of nice food. But that particular night, we were in such a rush, we didn't manage to get much that night. So we were absolutely starving. But yeah, I just remember we were phoning taxis. We were just doing everything we could. We were trying to hail down cars just to get us a McDonald's. We still didn't get a McDonald's. We went back in a hotel room, and it's when the whole selfie videos just started. People just started posting them. Yeah. We're in a hotel room going, let's do this video. Come on, let's do a thing. Post it up. Yeah. And we were so loud. You look at it now.
I remember you guys went and did that, and I was trying to repack the suitcases so everything weighed correctly to take it back to the airport in about an hour or two. And I remember you guys coming back because I was rooming with Nick, and you and Matt were together.
That's right.
You just we were next door to each other, and I could just hear you crying with laughter trying to do these videos.
Yes, yeah, I've never done them before. I will never do them again. But yeah, I think that was definitely one of them. I mean, we've had so many fun moments, so much fun, and you know, in and out, inside the show, doing the shows, and off the stage as well. I think one of the scariest moments, actually, I think I saw was when we were in South Africa. Pitch black as they are, these theatres sometimes, and we were on it was a big old stage in Joburg, wasn't it? And it was one of our final shows when Don was drumming that particular night, and he just got up to stretch his leg and he fell down the gap, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know if you remember that, but
I vaguely remember that. Vaguely, yeah.
yeah, that was quite a scary moment because he was literally about to come in, and he fell down this gap, managed to get himself back up, you know, half injured, and got back into the song. It was yeah, that was a scary moment.
My scary moment. I had a few scary moments in that tour. We won't go into too many of that, but one of them very quickly was not managing to lock my feet in properly on the lane and just go, "Wah!"
yeah.
I had
Yeah,
one leg in, one leg off. So
yeah. Joburg, we had a lot of moments in Joburg. Yeah, that's for another time.
Yeah, I think I'll get into that with another interview. I'm going to hopefully do one with Greg, and that's going to be a bit of a Joburg special, I think, because that's one of the main things he's done with us. One of my favourite funny moments with you, and literally, it makes my hair stand on end with from laughing about it. I'm trying not to laugh about it while I talk about it, but it was off stage. Obviously, most of the most funniest things always do happen off stage, and you was teching. You was going to tech with us.
Right.
And in fact, I've got two things we'll go through, but let's go through this one first. There, and you was with Corinne, and we had Steph with us. Do you remember Steph, the dancer?
Yeah,
Steph?
I do.
And it was middle of summer, and for whatever reason, I had really struggled to get accommodation for a gig. And you was taken with us. I think it was we'd done a show that night, or we were going to do a show the next night, and you was teching on one of them, so it just made sense that you stayed. And we basically got a caravan. I won't say where, but it was in Skegness, and we got given I think it was like staff accommodation, but staff accommodation that wasn't being used hardly ever, and it just looked like a scene from Saw in there. It was like, whoa, this caravan is grim. Like, this is grim. And I said, you and Corin take the double room, because it was only like a single bed.
Yeah.
And it had like a pull-out bed and then like a sofa. So like in the like a pull-out bed and sofa in the lounge area. So I said, you and Corin, you together, you take the double bed, and then Steph can take the pull-out bed, and I'll take the sofa. And you went in that room, and it was a single bed, but with a double mattress on.
Yes, it was. Unbelievable.
And I just heard this poof to the floor, and you crying, laughing.
Oh, brilliant.
But
it was magical.
The thing that made me laugh more than ever is we were setting up Steph's bed. And his mattress looked like all kinds of things had happened on it.
Oh no.
And Steph's a bit of a hypochondriac, like everything's got to be really nice and clean and perfect. I think that's the right word for it. And I remember he said, don't worry, just flip the mattress. She flipped the mattress. Massive brown stain. Oh God! And I just died. I absolutely died laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God,
I remember it now. Yeah, I remember.
Oh God. And we were I just couldn't breathe. I was laughing so much. All I could hear, even after we got to bed, just every like 3 or 4 minutes, you just cried laughing. Just crying, laughing, because you were like, your ass is half fucking bed.
Oh, no!
Oh God! It was so funny.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Oh God!
Yes.
Oh, more of that in lockdown. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So funny.
Right. It was brilliant. It was really good.
I tell you one other quick gig that you did with me that was I mean, it was amusing, but also not amusing. You was teching with me, and I'd been in Denmark the night before on a gig with a couple of the girls,
Yeah.
And I was feeling a bit rough. And yeah, you know exactly. And I think we're doing a gig.
I was coming.
I think we're doing a gig in it was about a good 2.5 hours away, 2 hours away, something like that. I want to say it was further than Folkestone, but it was somewhere like around that way. And it was a hotel, and I'd got back, not really slept that much the night before, but and I'm used to doing loads of flying. This is 2-3 years ago now, I think, and I'm used to doing lots of flying, and it doesn't bother me. And so I've been in some really turbulent situations on flights, but I was feeling really a bit like, I'm a bit travel sick. I thought I'd be right. By the time we land, it's only a short flight. By the time we land, I'll be all right. And I got to the sort of baggage collection and was still feeling rough. I was like, no, something's not right here. And unfortunately, it was only at Stansted, and got back to mine and was feeling still a bit queasy. And I just need to be sick. Get it out of me. I'll be all right after that. So I kind of made myself sick, but only a little bit. And then I started loading the car, and every sort of second trip to the car with equipment, I was throwing up again.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember thinking, this isn't right. I just need to get this out of my system. And then eventually just bathed my entire world out of my mouth. I thought, I'm all right now. And then you turned up, and you were like, you all right? And I was like, yeah, I've just been sick a lot, but I'll be all right, fine. I'll drive, it's all right. And we got to literally the BP garage, which is before the M11. So if anybody watching knows Harlow, that's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles into the journey, and said, I've got to pull over, and just started throwing up. So then you took over driving, because you're kind of insured on my car anyway, because of your insurance allows you to drive any car like mine does, as long as you've got permission. And I just sat there with Tupperware, just throwing up every like half hour, whatever it was, and just, it was so rough.
We had to stop at services to clean it out.
It was rough. I mean, I don't know how we got through that, but you was amazing that day. I literally helped you get some speakers on the stands and went and got in bed at the hotel. They had a room for us, fortunately. Just got in bed, slept for 40 minutes, then did my makeup. I'd had nothing to eat all day, just had like a glass of lemonade, and then did 2 45-minute sets. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know how you did it. It's commitment for you, mate. I mean, I would have cancelled it. No, but you done well.
This is it. I'm one of them people where I can't cancel if I can get there and do something. My mindset was, if I can just stop being sick, I'll just do what I need to do to get through it afterwards. But I've just got to stop being sick. And my mindset was, whenever I've had anything like this in the past, you're normally sick for a number of hours, and then you just feel really drained afterwards. So I thought, if I can at least stop being sick by the time I'm doing makeup, it'll be all right. So that was my mindset. I just figured I'd just
got through it, man.
We got through it, though. We did it. There's some fun times. So, outside of Forever Jackson, you do have another show. You have a few shows. Obviously, there's Radio Video, I believe, one of them.
Radio Video, yeah, that's sort of your corporate wedding thing. I do, We don't do much, but we do, we do it. And it's good for close friends of mine that I've known for many, many years, even longer than all of you. So we just do it because we enjoy it, and, we earn a little bit of a living doing it as well. So
very much so. But one of the main projects you've created outside of Forever Jackson, and using a lot of the people that you've met and built up great relationships with in Forever Jackson, is 24K Bruno. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, 24K Bruno. So it was when I was working at Hertfordshire College of Music. We had a diploma course running there at the time, and one of the open mic nights we had was we had a student get up there, a young lad called Andres Cruz, and he was performing some Bruno songs. I didn't know him really then, and as soon as he started playing and singing, I was like, hold on, you would make a great Bruno Mars here. And I spoke to him at the end. Being this young lad, I didn't think he would be up for it, and he was immediately on board. And so it sort of went from that to then speaking to someone that got us an audition on something, and I had to put this couple of songs, 2 or 3 songs together, all the tracks, get all that sorted. I spoke to Jen, who organises all the choreograph for Jackson, and I was like, oh, I need something. I need some dancers. You know, can we sort something out? And she put something together. Got a couple of dancers. I think it was 4 dancers actually. She got sorted out.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it just sort of snowballed. That went well. So it's like, well, we can't leave it here.
Yeah,
We've got to do it now, you know, and sort of turn this thing around from all the experience from Jackson and doing some other bits of work for other shows. Obviously, he all helped create the magic of that show too. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, the bits I've seen, I've never managed to see a whole show yet because it always clashes with other gigs. But what I have seen, it is a wicked, wicked show. Like, you should be very proud of yourself. It's a great show.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah,
I recommend everybody checking it out. Where can they find out about it?
So, got the main website. It's probably the best place. We had a lot of issues with Facebook, bless them. I don't know why, but there you go.
Yeah, it's an odd one that they do seem to pick and choose. They have their moments, but tell us, what's the website address?
So 24kbruno.co.uk. Yeah, that's
I urge everybody to get involved and have a look at that, because it is a very, very cool show. And Andre vocally is insane. He is the absolute spit of Bruno Mars, and he sings it. He goes original key, doesn't he? From what I can.
Yeah.
He's stuff, which is madness from a live, but like, especially with Bruno Mars, like. It'd be like me trying to do everything in original key of Jackson. It's never gonna happen.
He's good, man.
Key, so.
Hopefully, just like Jackson, you know, all the shows will be out there in the very near future. Hopefully. End of the year, maybe. Hopefully.
hopefully that's the plan. So let's seeing as we're going down that route, let's move on. Obviously, the last nearly 12 months now has been a very, very crazy, up and down, very different time, probably something we'll never experience again in our lifetimes. We really hope so, at least. How's it been for you? How's lockdown and the pandemic experience been at your end?
It's been okay. I've been all right, you know. Obviously, I've known a lot of people, unfortunately, to have got it, touch wood. I've been one of the fortunate ones, but yeah, I think having teaching saved my bacon a bit, because I was self-employed teacher for HCM, and I was teaching one-to-one lessons online, which is no problem. I actually set up the company when that lockdown came. It was like, right, what can we do? Nobody's going to work. We're all self-employed. What are we going to do here? And anyway, the brain went, and it's like, right, I started speaking to the main people in the office, and like, right, okay, let's make this happen. And I basically set up the whole company to allow all the teachers to teach online. I sorted out all the equipment we needed, taught them how to use it. So that sorted them all out while sorting me out. And I was really, I was really lucky I was teaching, because I could teach online still. Yeah. And then from that, I mean, as the pandemic went on, I saw an offer of a new position come up, which was more solid for me, and that was where I now work at the college, still with some good flexibility there. So it's great. It was a good move for me. Don't get me wrong, I do miss my old fellow folk as well at the old work, but yeah, the new people I'm working with are great, and that was thanks to, actually, there you go, that's thanks to Cassie, who put that job forward. There you go.
It always comes around. Well, obviously Richard, one of our main techs from back in the day, and still does bits and pieces with us. In fact, he did the very last show that we did back on Halloween with us. He was a big part there. He was he was a teacher as well as the lead technician there for all of their shows,
theatre technician,
and the theatre that they've got. So yeah. If you are watching, Rich, how you doing? Good. I saw you in Sainsbury's the other week. I told you I'll give you a call. That is going to happen. I'm just trying to find a bit of time. So it's mad that we're in lockdown. It's mad we're in lockdown, and yet I feel like I've never been more busier. I get to the start of the day, I get on with stuff. I get to the end of the day and go, what have I actually done? Yeah, I'm not stopped. It's mad. It's utterly mad.
Nice. But we're getting through. Are you getting on all right? You okay?
Doing okay. Ebbs and flows, like with everybody. I had a bit of a lull last week where I kind of lost my motivation a bit. Up until then, I've been pretty solid. I've been pushing quite hard with a few new ventures. Obviously, some of you know I'm working towards a career in voiceover. And that's something I've been doing for a couple of years now, and that's tough going. I'm finding that hard. I'm not really picking up a lot from it yet, but I am seeing progress. And as long as I'm seeing progress, then I'm happy. As long as I'm not going backwards or just statuary, that's the main thing. Homeschooling's pretty tough going. Like, I don't envy any teacher anyway, but I can't imagine a teacher trying to teach two different age groups at the same time in an environment that is not gauged for teaching whatsoever, and being somebody who is not a teacher in the slightest and haven't been in a primary school for about 30 years, probably nearly over 30 years. It is a difficult thing. It's a very tough thing to do, because I don't have you done a lot of the homeschooling yourself?
I did last time. We on that very first big chunk of lockdown. The kids were a lot, and we did a lot here. This time round, I'm actually being the main teacher, so it's falling on their mum's lap. But yeah, you know, it is difficult. I appreciate it from both sides now. I can see both ways of how hard it is as a parent and how hard it is as a teacher to try and get the information to those kids and students and stuff. It's hard. All of it's hard.
And it's one of those things that I found, you don't want it to be a battle. You want it to be something that they want to do. And that's really, really hard in this kind of environment where it's not where they would normally do work. Certainly not at a young age. Maybe at a sort of, once you hit secondary school and you get homework and you're used to doing certain things at home, then you're more engaged to that. But when everything's kind of taught by us, like they have a 10 to 15-minute Zoom call once a week, and that's it. So everything else is just us, and even that's just a sort of a social thing, really. So they get to see their classmates, which is really nice.
I still don't get that. I don't get that. See, I mean, I know we're going off a little bit, but I teach online, and I'm online all the time with them, but I don't understand. It's just a little moan. I don't understand why school teachers aren't doing the same thing. But anyway,
there's two elements of it. I think where you've got a number of kids that are actually in the school still. You have to still prioritize what they're going to do as well as what the kids are doing at home. Obviously, the vast majority are at home. I think there's an element of teaching these teachers how to do what they're doing. They're all different age ranges and different elements, and you really see their sort of their tech know-how, some of them doing this, and it's no disrespect to them in the slightest. It's not something they've had to use before. There's probably elements of tech in their classroom that I'd look at and go, how are you doing that? Oh God, no! I mean, long gone is the blackboard and the whiteboard. Everything's very different now. It's all on a sort of print, like some projection thing. It's almost like Iron Man, where they're moving it around with their hands, like. So it's, you know, so I think there's a few elements of that, and also obviously there's an added cost of, you've got to have proper accounts with these chat forums like Zoom and stuff to do things properly, to be able to host the right number of people for the right amount of time. I've learned a fair amount of Zoom doing another job that I do as well, which is a bit of presenting, which was great to do this because it just brings that back out of me. So
I think it's the way forward now. I think we're not going to lose it. This whole new online stuff, it's always been there. We're now using it. That's the difference, you know.
I think so. I think you're right. I think businesses, there's going to be a lot of people that won't be going back to an office anytime soon, if at all, because it's cheaper to keep people at home. And if the productivity's still there, why would you change that?
Hopefully shows, mate. Hopefully we'll be doing shows in that way, you know.
No, that will not work for me. I cannot do that in my lounge. I've been asked many times, and all I can say is I may well have a nice surface to dance on in my lounge. It's not carpeted, but all that clip-clopping and loud music at whatever time of the night, and, you know, avoiding the cats as they walk through, and one of my kids hardly ever wears clothes. I don't want him suddenly coming up on screen. That's not going to work for me. So you won't be doing that. So if anybody's wondering why I haven't done lockdown shows, that's why. We opted for TikTok videos, okay? So which at some point when kids do go back to school, by the way, they will come back. But while they're at home, it's very, very difficult to devote what is essentially an entire day or the very best part of a day, to 2.5, 3 hours of makeup, and then filming 6 to 10 little videos, which may well only last sort of 10 to 30 seconds or a little bit longer. Each one takes about half an hour to plan, prep, and do, and that's before the day of rehearsal beforehand. So there's a lot that goes into those videos, but they will be back at some point. So just quickly on lockdown as well, have you obviously you told us how you adapted your work to make that work. Is there anything else that you've learned, any positives that's come out of lockdown, things that you've gained that you thought you wouldn't have a chance to do? Have you learned any new skills, anything where you've just gone, do you know what, this has been really nice, elements of this?
I think, well, if I'm talking about playing side of things, I'm doing a lot more playing that I wasn't doing before, and actually enjoying my own creativity of music again, which is nice. You know, I sit there for hours now, some days, and just playing and recording and doing some stuff, which is really nice. But the other thing I think is really nice is to, you know, appreciate family and friends around you. You know, I think that's really brought that all home as well from this lockdown. Is, you know, everyone looking out for each other. Not that we can be together, but we know they're there. If you need them, they're there. You know, yeah.
Massively. And I think on that very positive note, I think we will say thank you very much for your time. And it's been a lot of fun doing this. There's the first one, a lot of big laughs. So we will say thank you very much. I can't wait to see you again soon. Hopefully in a gig format, hopefully sooner than later, maybe with a bit of luck, maybe a start of summer, maybe into summer sometime. I really hope so. But until then, mate, really take care of yourself, and give my love to Corinne and the family. And I'll just leave it there. So
thank you. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, thanks. Love to all, mate. Take care. Yeah.
And you as well, buddy. Take care, mate.